Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Get Off the Damn Fence. That's right, we're back for another edition of our weekly podcast featuring Larry Caution, Calvin Thomas, Justin B.A. the Barber Harris. Gentlemen, how y'all doing tonight?
What's happening?
What's going on with y'all?
Hey, man, it's been an interesting weekend. Hope you all enjoyed the basketball weekend that we had. NBA playoffs first round. Typically, you get some upsets. Typically, get some blowouts. You get a good mixed bag. So, overall, I've enjoyed this first round, and we're gonna get into each matchup individually. Currently, the New York Knicks are playing the Detroit Pistons. Score 63-57. We'll be keeping an eye on that as the night progresses. But right off the bat, just want to get you all's thoughts on what we've seen over the weekend. We saw some of these series have come down to it where the OKC Thunder were able to close out the Memphis Grizzlies 4-0, and the Cleveland Cavaliers absolutely demolished the Miami Heat. So both number one seeds did exactly what they were supposed to do, dispatching of those number 8 seeds. Calvin, of the two number one seeds, who did you feel was more impressive in the first round?
I'll probably go with Cleveland. Just because OKC SGA didn't even play as well as he's capable of playing at his MVP level, but Cleveland was missing Darius Garland in the last two games, and they won by I believe 30 and 50 without Darius Garland, who's arguably their second best player, third best player with Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell. They absolutely dominated the Miami Heat and this showed that they were truly a play-in team. So I'm probably going to go with Cleveland. OKC was impressive. I think they had a tougher opponent, but Cleveland did what you're supposed to do and blow out your opponent and, keep it moving and get to the next round. So I'll probably go with Cleveland.
Justin, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, I got distracted at Giannis going at Tyrese Halliburton's father. They literally had because Giannis is tall. He was like this, like his forehead was touching the father forehead. They was like forehead to forehead, crazy. Wow. For this series, I'm gonna have to go. I see what Calvin was saying, and that was definitely a great point. But I like to say the OKC side of it because they were still dealing with another superstar on the other side. There's really nobody on Miami. Tyler Hero is not that guy. And like I said, unless they had a dominant throwback performance from some of those other players on the team, I knew they was gonna get smashed. I was kind of expecting Ja to get somebody a run for their money. He did not. He just got obliterated.
Well, he got hurt.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
so when he played the last two games,
the first two and a half games, they was blowing him out.
I was about to say the first two games, he didn't really put up that much of an effort against that type of onslaught when it comes to OKC. They're just a well-rounded team, and it was just good to see. Like I said, even with Shea not being 100%, the counterparts to that team from the other All-Star they had on the team to just from start to finish, they just had a great game plan against the Memphis Grizzlies and just took them out of their comfort zone. And I was kind of surprised to see that. I didn't expect Memphis to kind of get smashed like that, boss.
Yeah, I just thought that OKC kind of let Memphis hang around, and a lot of those games were a lot closer. I thought Memphis actually should have won 2 games, so some of those games were more competitive. They should have been. The Cleveland Cavaliers absolutely destroyed the Heat, and that's what you're supposed to do with a team that's below you. Look, the Heat, they won their play-in series. They got to the 8th seed by winning one of those games. They did what they need to do. They didn't deserve to be in the playoffs, but you don't get what you deserve. You get what you earn, and they earned their way in, and they earned themselves a 4-0 smashing. And give Cleveland all the credit in the world. This team is deep. We got to remember, this Cleveland team went on 2 long winning streaks this season, and they, for a long stretch of the year, they were regarded as one of the best teams for a reason. And they earned that number 1 seed, putting away the East with a strong Boston right behind, with a New York Knicks team. So I was way more impressed with the Cleveland, what they represented. Now, we know going forward, The West is a little bit tougher at the top, and some of the teams at the bottom are even tough. So OKC gonna have that hands full. If we take a look at these bracket and who they lined up with right now, they look to see the winner of that Clippers Denver series, which is 2-2. That's gonna go 7. It behooved OKC to wrap up that series quick, get some rest, get ready for whoever comes out of that Clippers and Denver matchup, because that's going to be a barn burner, and that'll be Game 5 tonight. Very interesting. Let's get into that series. So Game 5 is tonight. Denver has been tough. Clippers had Kawhi. We saw some flashes of brilliance. He kind of retreated in the last game, but the game before, 38 points, playing good defense. It took a buzzer beater dunk to beat the Clippers last game. I just think Aaron Gordon came up big at the end. I love Denver. That's my team. If I had one team that I'm rocking with other than Milwaukee Bucks, you know, I like Giannis and I like Jokic. I like big guys who handle their business, don't talk a lot. Now you talk about he got in Tyrese Halliburton's father's face. Hey, that's out of character for him. But anyway, I like my superstars to play hard going down, and even in defeat, we'll see what the Joker's able to do tonight. Calvin, who you got winning this Denver Clippers series?
Clippers. I think it's just too much firepower. Jokic hasn't. I'll say Jokic doesn't have enough help this series. Even the last game, when you think about it, they were down. Clippers were down 20 going to the fourth, and they walked them down basically to go. Did that game go into overtime? Well, they lost in regulation. They lost in regulation. But even with that tip dunk, which I'm not even sure how you can classify that, as he got it off in time. Like I'm still questioning that, but I like the Clippers as a matchup. Kawhi having 2 days rest.
Look, it's no need to question something once it goes 0-0-0. It's over.
Okay. Still don't like you made it to me. But like I said, I got
you
Clippers,
like the Clips.
I like the Clippers. I like Kawhi. I like James Harden. I like Norman Powell. And Zubac has been having quietly a good series. I'm not saying he's holding Jokic to some numbers, but he's put up numbers of his own. When he puts up 20 and 10,
14, 15, get out of here.
He's putting up 20 and 10, make Jokic work for it. So I give him credit. Look, Zubac is playing better than anyone on Denver not named Jokic. So
okay, go ahead, Justin. Make your point.
I mean that last little nugget that he just threw out there is accurate.
No, it is not.
Zubac is playing better than anybody else not named Jokic on Denver. He threw a lot of qualifiers on that joint. But no, I mean I hear you with Zubac, but you know all Jokic did was have a 36, 21 rebound and 8 assists night. So you know he's doing okay, I guess.
Dominating.
Look, that tip dunk might have just gave Denver just a little bit of life. I think they was on their way to having a 4-1 gentleman's sweep, to be honest with you. They seemed a little dead in the water just a little bit. You seen Jokic getting very frustrated at the sideline. Russell Westbrook is hurt. I don't know if he'll be back for game 5. So it's just a lot. It was just a lot going on. Hey, so it depends on which rush you can get, right? You know, we already know that's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a vibe, but you know, I'm still going with the Clippers with this one. As I said, with a team changing coaching philosophies at the last second, this team should not win. It should not win. So I'm not going to expect it to win. I will stay true to that and just wait for the Clippers to close this series out.
You know, I'm very disappointed in Michael Porter Jr. I hope this is his last year with the team. They need to really upgrade that position. He's probably the most. I mean, get rid of him. I mean, I don't know how mumuch they paid him. I think they did give him 90.
They maxed him out.
They give him max.
They maxed him out. So
somebody will be look at his measurements and be like, oh, we can do something with him. He can shoot. But he's so inconsistent. He's Oh, he's just getting lost in the so many different players. No, it ain't. It's him. But anyway, they just need more help at that small forward position. He's not the guy. I'll be very interested to see how Denver comes out. The first quarter will tell the tale of this story to me. I think that Jokic was very aggressive in game 4. And after he cussed out his whole team in game 3, after what Kawhi did, I think they responded well. And that's what a leader does, man. You know what buttons to push when it's time to push it. If you ain't got the coach you can lean on, your superstar is supposed to step up. And I got faith in Jokic. That's just how I am. And I'm banking on that. I'm going with Denver in game 5. Push this thing back to Denver, and I think they can close it out in 6. That's my opinion. I'm sticking with it. Let's go on over to this Indiana Bucks series because this has not been updated. This was put together before tonight. The Bucks went down in a thriller at the end. I was stunned. I thought Milwaukee had it in the bag, but the Pacers were able to. Yeah, the Pacers were able to come back. My man Giannis had 30, 20, 11, 13, something like that. Give it all he got. We all know poor Dame Lillard popped his Achilles the other night, so he wasn't there. He got 33 points out of Gary Trent Jr. My man Bobby Portis couldn't even give him 15. Messed up my parlay. You know what I mean? But, Milwaukee just didn't have enough. Like I said, when they traded away Chris Middleton, you gave up your third score. I said it. I saw this coming. And what did Kyle Kuzma do? Somebody said, "Oh, that's a good pickup. That's a good pickup. Kyle Kuzma can get you points in it." Look at his stat lines.
Kyle Kuzma looked like Chris Middleton the last couple of years.
Now that's disrespectful.
No, I think Chris Middleton would have gave you more than 5
points in the playoffs just last year when Dame and Giannis wasn't there.
And they got swept.
Hey, he was putting up buckets.
No,
buckets.
Cal, you cannot defend anything
You
right
can't.
now. I'm eating that same crow right now because I thought Chris was going to be at least a little bit better.
I'm not defending Kuzma.
Points.
I'm just saying Chris Middleton been going down here since the Olympics.
But we saw him reach.
He would have been healthy during the playoffs enough to give you a little bit more.
He got time to get healthy now.
He'd have got at least 10 points tonight.
Kyle Kuzma had 5 points.
Chris Middleton would have had 4.
I guarantee you would have more than that. I guarantee you would have more. Anyway, what's your thoughts on this series overall? Dame going down. Justin, I'll start with you.
Well, for Dame and that Achilles, he's gone for a while. At his age, he's like 35, something like that. I will rehab under Milwaukee's dime and not your own your own money, and just come back on the floor. Maybe at that whatever time it is, maybe give a half a season or whatever and call it a day. I wouldn't. It's tough, man. KD got an Achilles joint, came back, played a couple more years on top of that, so that's different. I just feel sorry for Dave, man, but he had a lot of off the court situations, and I think this amount of time off can help ease him. So when he does come back, he can be himself 100%. So I think that's the best for him. Sometimes you just gotta step away from it all.
You asking a lot for with Dame 34. He ain't gonna play again until he's 30. I'm assuming he's gonna miss all next season. That's what my assumption is going to be. So you're asking him to miss a season, come back at age 36, and still be what?
Just Chris Paul.
And he was dealing with a blood clot issue as well in his legs, right?
And that's probably what caused the Achilles. He probably overworked himself.
Well, he had the strained calf last playoffs, and then I think he had the blood clot in the same
area.
Yeah, so he's definitely he needs some time to get that stuff to get situated.
Yeah,
but I'm not expecting him to be Portland name again. Can he be Chris Paul the last couple years?
Man can shoot. A shooter can always find a spot.
Shoot.
But I mean, do you have that same lift? You have that same quick twitch? Like, can you still get shots off?
He'll be a role player.
Chris Paul is still playing basketball.
Yeah, he don't need to be
the slowest basketball players in the league.
But Chris Paul was always a pass first point guard. Dame was a score first. He was getting by you. He was getting to his spots and getting a shot over.
He was shooting from the logo. He could still shoot from the logo.
Okay.
You don't think he could be a Ray Allen late in his career where he's just a role player, in addition to the Miami Heat, in addition to a Boston Celtics, where you're not the centerpiece, but you're a guy.
Yeah, if
I mean,
he
that takes
goes,
two though.
guy.
That takes two. Like Dame has to realize.
No, I
that,
agree
like,
with that. I'm just
like,
saying
he's got to
still
realize
fairly.
that.
He's not young, but relatively speaking, when we talking about Steph Curry 36, 38, or whatever he is right now, LeBron James
yeah,
40.
he got that
like,
30, 35
I mean,
to
I think
39 window.
We all
and the
believe
fact
that
that he can shoot is going to save him.
I think we all believe Steph is steps ahead or a tier
no doubt.
ahead of Dame. I'm not saying that he can't do it. I'm just saying
look at Klay. That's a good comparison. Look at Klay Thompson and his resurgence right now.
But
in
even
Dallas.
still, like when Klay was at his peak, Klay was a defender. Klay was a better
But
shooter.
he's not
Now
that no more.
he's correct. He's not that anymore. But Dame is 3 inches shorter than him. Dame has the ball in his hands more. Dame is accustomed to doing more. Like I just think it's two different comparisons.
But I think you're looking at him like a Allen Iverson when Iverson went down the hill. Iverson needed the ball. Iverson wasn't the 3-point shooter Dame ever was. I think you can find a spot on a team for a Dame where he can just be a spotter or a guy that just camps in the corner. He could
be like Gary Trent Jr.
Okay.
You're starting to disrespect.
That's not reality.
That's not disrespectful. If he thinks he's still going to be Portland Dame, then that's on him.
We all know that's
on him.
Yeah.
But if he can accept the backup role, that type of situation,
he's the backup. So he's the backup.
A role player.
He's a role player now. Yes, that injury will
As you get older, we all become role players. Name the guy who wasn't LeBron James. That's the only guy, but even he is a role player to an extent.
Shit,
like
when we talk about this next series, it might
we about to go to it right now. But yeah, I just think that Dame will have to adjust his game and see how it works out. You know what I mean? We've seen other guys, like you say, once they fall. Look at Bradley Beal. I think he's falling. He don't know it, but
Bradley Beal never is a volume scorer. And just solidified it in Phoenix. Like all he can do is he can score, but he needs his shots. And
will you say that Dame is better than that?
At his peak, Dame was better. Yeah, at his peak, I saw Dame
be able to adjust.
Yeah,
that's all.
We'll see.
We shall see.
Speedy
Next
recovery.
up, let's talk about this Los Angeles Lakers Minnesota Timberwolves series. I'm not going to do a whole lot of lead up or a lot of preview. Calvin, I want you to talk about this one. What is happening with this Lakers Timberwolves series?
Look, Anthony Edwards has been the best player on the court, which I'd anticipate him doing 3 out of the first 4 games. And even game 3, I understand your thought process to play your stars the majority of the third and fourth quarter, but you can't play your 5 starters 24 straight minutes on the road when you're down 1 game. That made no sense. Now you're gonna say you had an extra day to rest, so they were always going to come back. But you're playing a 40-year-old 40 minutes. You're playing Luka, who's constantly out of shape. You're going small. Now you have
Thibodeau approve of this style of play.
You're right, and that's why he out the playoffs every year in the second round. But we not like that. We the Lakers. I ain't meant to take a shot. I feel like you was coming at me. You was coming to my Lakers for a minute.
Look, he got hot.
But look, adjustments need to be made in the coaching style. You need to cut down your bench. You cut down your bench, but you have to trust your bench. You have to get Gobert off the court. You have to get someone to slow down Anthony Edwards. He is getting whatever he wants in this series. He's shooting 50% from the 3-point line. He's getting to the basket. He's getting whatever he wants, and he just had 40 a couple nights ago. Now, will they be able to close this out on the road? They did it in Denver last year in Game 7. I don't see why they can't. However, I think we get a Luka. We finally get a Luka game. The game where Luka takes over, even if he has to go shot for shot with Anthony Edwards, and then we go push it back to Minnesota, and then it's on Minnesota to win at home. Because if it goes 7, Lakers in 7.
Here we go. Let me say this before you go, Justin. The problem I had with JJ Redick and Anthony Edwards is shooting phenomenally from the 3-point line.
Yes.
Run him off the line. I want him to drive. I want him.
You have no rim stop. You have no one at the rim to challenge him. So what's the point?
I'd rather give up 2 than 3.
I agree with that.
Nas Reed is killing you. Like at some point, run these guys off the 3-point line, and if they score 2, fine. You are up 7. You were up 7 late in that game, and you allowed them to just shoot threes at the 3, allowing it like no double
with
teams.
tired legs.
Again, I agree with that, but you can't blow bunnies either. So anyway,
Yeah.
you got how many free throws did they miss? Oh, it was egregious, egregious. Justin, go ahead. I'm sorry.
They are playing right into the Timberwolves' hand. They don't. JJ doesn't know what to. He honestly doesn't know what to do. And I just peruse over the minutes here, and it's just like they got Jackson Hayes, but they just subbed him out for Dorian Finney-Smith off top, right? So
he
only
had 3
got a
fouls
total
in the first 10 minutes
and
of the game.
4 minutes in, he was gone. Right? Didn't see it. He only got 4 minutes. So that just shows you that they don't have a rim protector. So what do you do? It's I see. But if they press him, he could just drive right by him. There's no shot blocker. I see that you say that okay, 2 is better. You take the 2 over the 3, but then he's gonna get people in foul trouble. He's gonna get LeBron in foul trouble. He's every help defender.
He won't. Not LeBron. LeBron ain't gonna do no defending at the rim. He'll block a shot from behind or something like that. LeBron will lay him and let him go and score a layup. I've seen it one too many times. Now Dorian Finney hasn't been terrible. I don't think he's been terrible.
But they can't get Gobert off the court either. That's the other problem. You have your line, this big lineup of Gobert and Reed. And look, Randall's playing well.
Randall is also playing.
Randall dominating, not playing well. Playing tremendous, especially in the first half.
It's nothing LA can do right now.
The problem
is it's a lineup issue.
It's a lineup issue.
We knew the Lakers
don't have any big men. You vetoed the Mark Williams trade. There was no way to get another big man, and you obviously don't trust Alex Lynn. So there's no way for you to get size right now. So it's like nothing you can do.
You say that you want to know like a Luka-esque game. He did have 38 points. He just didn't have nobody to pass the ball to because
LeBron ain't take a shot.
Look, LeBron has to be a little bit more.
Luka needs 40. Luka needs to be the best player on the court. He was 2
points away from 40.
No, but he needs to be the best player on the court. And
I think 38.
I think they saw the double team.
Better than him.
Give Naz Reid credit. No, it wasn't that. They sent the double team at him, and on his high pick and roll, they came hard on them screens. And Naz Reid came out and said, "I got you." And a couple of even Rudy Gobert, that strip he had that one time, and it led to a run out. That was great defense. I give him all the credit in the world.
He can't find the right tool. He can't find the right
Austin
program.
Reed missed way too many shots down the stretch too.
And if you play somebody that long, then they're gonna get tired. They're gonna get fatigued. He has a fatigue top. That's what they're gonna do. LeBron's going to get tired. Luka is going to get. They're not athletes like that. This is what happens.
I didn't think they played terrible defensively, be honest with you. The problem was, remember, it came down to that LeBron got a block. Then all of a sudden, they come down, they missed the 3. I don't know why he took that stupid 3.
I don't know why he took it when you were down 2.
That was ridiculous.
I don't know.
It was ridiculous.
It was a cop out.
And it was deep.
Everybody was tired. You had
played tired.
They had played 24 straight minutes. All 5 of them had played 24 straight minutes. You did not go to the free throw line once.
Yeah, and then that strip that they called that they had to use the extra angle at the top of the arena, that saved the day because I thought it was clean.
They was getting ready to get the ball back down 1.
And they still got it back down 3. Make your shot, baby.
Yeah, this is the Minnesota team that they're a little scary because if my whole thing was it was the Julius Randle side clearly because I'm a Knicks fan. If they can get him in sync with that team, he does provide us another level of physical play that I think Anthony wants to play. But it's kind of hard to want to play physical when you got Rudy and Cat as your bigs backing you up. Like, what am I gonna do if we start to throw down?
Dogfight. Yeah.
Right. So.
But Naz Reid is a dog. Yes,
no doubt,
he is.
No doubt. But that was the third big.
Yeah.
So Julius right there behind him playing bully ball, banging with LeBron back and forth. That's what.
Reed is in great shape too. I mean, Julius Randle's in great shape. I give him credit, man. His hustle.
He never was Well, I won't say
sometimes
never,
if
but
you blink, if you don't look at the
Just
number,
shot
you can't
selection
tell
and-
the difference between him and Ant-Man
it was
sometimes.
just play selection.
shot selection and him holding the ball too long, in my opinion.
And
his
He
three-point-
still does it on offense, but he's just making them now.
He hit shooting a higher percentage from 3 as well, man. That man is hitting some big shots in this series. I don't know if it's just being in LA. I mean, going up against the Lakers.
He's making
stepping
big
up.
shots, but the other guy is also making big shots.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Call Anthony Towns. Let's go over to the next series.
Right. Anyway, is this over? Is it 4-1?
No. It's
So
at least gonna be at least
Lakers,
3-2.
so you meant to say Lakers is going to win in 5. That's what you said. They're going to win game 5. Not
I
the series over in 5.
said the Lakers in 7.
Oh, you said 7. Oh,
Yeah.
He did say 7. So y'all got the Lakers winning game 5. Justin,
no.
it's over.
It's over.
It ain't over. They'll lose to Minnesota at worst.
Anthony
But they win in
is
game
a
5.
shark in blood-infested water.
Let's see. All right, let's talk about this Knicks Pistons series, which to me, wow.
Best series so far.
You think this is the best series?
If they make the calls, it's probably
If the referees make that call at the end of game 4, this
in
is a
Detroit.
2-2 series.
in Detroit.
I
was 100% prepared for this because if they make that call, that's what y'all say. A half second before that, Josh Hart got abused for the tip rebound, but they don't call that. So if you give me that, then I'm gonna take it right back, the same exact play, and we'll run it 3/10 of a second behind that, and Josh Hart was the one that got fouled, trying to get out to him. So if you're gonna keep it a buck, the whole thing should have been washed, and we should have kept on playing. But they didn't do that. They let one go, so that was the makeup call right after it. That's why they let it go. If you really want to watch the film and watch what happened.
Oh my goodness,
So
man.
with that being
We're
said,
talking about a shooter getting fouled. Shooter getting fouled.
He got hit by 2
On the
people.
ball.
A foul's a
On
foul.
the ball is supposed to matter.
Detroit wanted to play physical. Detroit wanted to play physical.
It'd have been a rock.
I don't want to hear about the referees anymore. I don't worry about
But Detroit blew 2 games. If you've really been watching the series, this series has been, I agree it's been good, but it's just been mired with terrible officiating. I mean, you gotta call it what it is, man. And then Cunningham, like I think someone of y'all called, he's a future superstar. Look, great player.
Yeah.
Who's his help?
Great.
Who's his help? Who's his help?
Zion
Like
is
these
coming.
guys are disappearing, just disappearing. And again, I'm not in. Even tonight, game is close. But again, once the Knicks go on that run, like they did in game 1, who's the answer for the Pistons? Who is the answer? Cade is cool, Cade. But they double team him. He got nothing. Anyway,
OG on him.
He got shooters. That's at least he can say that. He got bona fide shooters. And
They
before, sometimes that's all you need is some shooters.
Yeah.
LeBron did it for years. Sometimes
is Stewart hurt?
Yeah, his knee hurt.
Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. Anyway, Cat's been playing well this series. I give him all the credit in the world.
Besides game 2, he's been playing
spectacular.
spectacular.
But yeah, good on him. Calvin, your thoughts on this series?
Knicks should end it tonight. They got the lucky one they needed in Detroit. You got to take advantage of it, especially with Boston potentially closing out Orlando. If you can get this type of performance regularly against Boston, they'll be dangerous. You have OG playing well, Bridges playing well, Cat playing well, except for game 2, like Justin said. And Brunson has only been needed sparingly and not to carry the offense throughout the game. And if that's what you can get, I'm not complaining.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Justin? Break it down for us. Oh, the baby's crying.
Okay.
But yeah, I think for real, honestly, when you really look at this series, and look, we all know what happens with this New York team when the games really matter. I think this game will come down to the wire. It's a closeout game in Detroit. I think the pressure is in New York. The pressure is all on the Knicks here because you close out a game on your whole court. It take an extra oomph to get that done. And we've seen them come up short in closeout games in the real recent future. So I think this is going to be tough going down the stretch. If I had more faith in the supporting cast of the Pistons, I would take them. But right now, like you say, way Cat's been playing, I think he is the difference maker. They went out and got him for a reason. And he's been shooting a high percentage. I give him all the credit in the world. I've never been a Cat believer, but he's been going inside, forcing the issue. Give him all the credit in the world. And Tom Thibodeau hasn't gotten in the way. So good on him. Justin, your thoughts?
So yeah, I mean, Detroit, I won't be surprised if they win tonight. I do expect us to win. It's just that we just have too much talent. We have too much talent, and I was afraid of how we close out games. I was afraid of that. That's why I said it'd be a longer series. But JB has shown up. He put the cape on. Sometimes I think he put the cape on way too fast in game two. But definitely, Cat was making shots where I was like, I heard this other guy say it, and I felt the same way as another Nick podcast. It was like you see other teams kind of make timely shots, like God damn, that was a hell of a shot. Like God damn, Cat is making those shots for us, and it's not every day that we have that. That three that he made it in the last game, the fall away, the jumper that he hit going towards out of bounds. I'm like, yo, we not supposed to be making these kind of shots. So the fact that we got a guy to do that is such a relief. So hopefully we take it tonight and just start resting.
Yeah, just hopefully y'all don't let Dennis Schroeder go crazy on y'all, something like that in the fourth quarter. We've seen that already. All right, let's talk about this Houston and Golden State series, another series where a bounce here, a bounce there. This could be totally different. They missed Jimmy Butler for a couple games. Butler came back last night and was absolutely sensational. Draymond Green, excellent defensive play down the stretch on Sengun at the rim, getting real cocky with it. Look like the Warriors are on pace to close us out 4-1. But honestly, if you haven't watched the games, other than game one, this series has been close. And the Rockets have nothing to hold their hat over. They're a young team. We all talked about maybe they're a year too early. They could use another piece or two. But again, Warriors have the playoff experience. They ready. And if they can stay healthy, this team will be very dangerous. If you look at how the matchup goes now, they're looking to play the winner of that Minnesota and LA series. And man, they could give either one of those teams a run for that money. So it's gonna be very interesting. What's your thoughts on this one, Calvin?
After they were able to beat, they being Golden State was able to beat Houston without Jimmy Butler, I gave up on Houston. I picked Golden State initially in this series. I just think you have to win that game without Jimmy Butler. You lose that game. I think you lose that game. You lose that game in Golden State, in San Francisco, so it's a little bit different, or it's not as bad as I thought it was. But they should have took advantage of that game without Jimmy Butler to win that ball game. And I think we've all realized now that maybe Jalen Green is not it. He can't be your leading scorer. He can't be your shot taker, your playmaker. He's the only one in the top 4 of the draft. I saw this earlier, in which he doesn't have an NBA All-Star appearance or some type of accolade or award yet. Out of those top 4 draft picks, Cade Cunningham, Evan Mobley, and Scotty Barnes. So maybe he's just not in that class. Maybe this is what they're seeing and they finally realizing it. And maybe this is when they make moves in the offseason. But he's so inconsistent in a time in which he needs to be consistent for this team to score buckets, to get them baskets when they need to. And in addition, there is no perimeter defender, especially when Jimmy was out, that should have been able to stop you. And I think that's what we're seeing with Houston. Golden State can be dangerous going forward. I'm wondering where their lack of size will end up getting to them. Maybe it's potentially in the next series if they play Minnesota, but it's going to be a point where you can't rely on Draymond to play that 5 so much. But at least right now it's working for him, and I think they're going to win this. They're going to wrap this up tomorrow night.
You think Rudy Gobert wants to see Draymond Green? Anyway,
I think Julius Randle and Naz Reid are enough. So,
yeah. What's your thoughts, Justin?
I think that Calvin's take is completely off-putting. When it comes to the Rockets, they are a young team. They went from not being in the playoffs to the number 2 overall seed within a year. They're going against a battle-tested 4-time champion, Steph Curry, and a person that took his team pretty much by himself to the finals twice in Jimmy Butler. That does that is something to go against. And the fact that you are playing them very, very hard, and the fact that Jalen Green is only 23, yes, he's old enough to start to make some moves, but this is his first playoff experience. Cade ain't playing the best either. Cade doing okay, but you had like Jalen Green didn't give you like 38 in game 2. Like he
do
did
those 3
show you.
games. We do that for 3 games.
He's understanding what's going on.
He did not. Did he score double digits?
Did you? How did Kobe do against certain playoff games when he first started?
That's a hell of a pivot.
It's a young player that's trying to figure out in his first.
Okay. What was year 4 Kobe doing? Winning finals.
What was his first playoff like?
No. What was year 4 Kobe doing?
You have to go by the intensity of the playoffs. That's what you
go
by
the year in which he's in the league.
That has nothing to do with
Kobe doing. This is year 4 Jalen Green.
Of the playoff. If he hasn't been in that type of fire, how do you know how he's going to react? Let's see how he does next year.
You just said what was Kobe doing. I said what was year 4.
I said what was he doing in his first playoff experience? He wasn't that great.
What was
all
year
I'm saying.
4 Kobe doing? Winning playoffs.
That's apples and oranges. I'm talking about against playoff performances.
I'm just going by
I put a qualifier on it. Which you're moving the goalposts.
It's no qualifier.
What I'm saying, what I'm saying,
4 versus year 4.
You're moving the goalposts. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to your first playoff experience,
this is Cade's first playoff as well. We talk about
he's not. Well, right? I just said he's not playing the. He's not playing the best. He is underperforming based off his season averages.
Does Cade have an Alfred Sengun to play with? We just talked about him having no help.
He's playing.
Who's he playing with?
Underperforming based off of statistical performances throughout the whole entire season. He's underperforming.
Mm-hmm. And Jalen Green is playing with Alfred Sengun, who's what, the 3rd, 4th best center. Who's Cade playing with?
And then you
Tim
made
Hardaway?
that all-star, that whatever that accolade. All those other 3 guys play in the East. So it is a different monster playing in the West. And shout out to my Knicks, but they're not the Warriors. What are you? The fact that he has to go against,
taking shots to your own team.
I'm not taking shots. It is what it is. One team won 4 championships.
It's levels to this.
Couldn't get to the conference finals. So it's levels to this type of performance in the playoffs. Give the kid some leeway and see how he comes back next year. Your leeway is maybe time to trade him. But what type of that's not a leeway?
I said maybe it's time to get more help. I didn't say it's time to trade him.
It sounded like you wanted to trade him. What else?
I didn't say it was time to trade him.
If he
I said maybe it's time for him not to be the number 1 option. I didn't say
he will. You don't fall from this. You don't.
He grows into it.
Mm-hmm. He can grow into it. All he has to do is just perform to his average, and they win this series. Just as great. Everyone else is playing about the same.
If he averages 10 less than his average in 2 of those ball games, they win.
You're making my point. If he performs at his average, they don't need no other pieces. They just need him to get through this hump that he's going through.
And I'm saying he's performing so far below average that
he gave you 38 though. He gave you 38
in 1 game, and they lost that game.
Did they?
That was game 2. No, they won game 1.
Golden State.
No, I'm sorry. It was game 3. It was a no Jimmy Butler game that they lost. That they scored 38 and they lost.
No, I don't think that's true.
Well, anyway, I get the point. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see how you do.
Again, this series is over, either way you look at it. But no skin off their back as far as knocking them. I feel like they just ran up against a tough matchup. We all knew Golden State wanted to play them in the first round. They are young, and I'm not going to disrespect the Rockets. I think that, like you say, they'll get better. Add another piece.
It was game 2. Okay, let's look at his numbers. Game 1, 7 points. They lose by 10. Game 2, he had 38. Game 2, they win by 15. This is Jimmy Butler goes out early game. Game 3, he has 9. They lose by 11. Game 4, he has
8.
They lose by 3. So, like I said, he scored under 10 points in 3 of the 4 games.
I'm not disagreeing with you. He got to play better.
No one's saying that. I'm agreeing with. He has to play better. I'm just saying this is his first playoff experience against.
Learn from it.
Out of all the teams that he could play against,
he played against the Warriors. If you would have said he's average, he's being locked down, he's shooting, has a rough season, and he's a rough series, averaging 17 points. I'm like, okay, I'll give you that benefit of the doubt. He scored less than 10 in 3 of those ball games.
I think that takes away some of his shine of being an emergent superstar or anything like that. But I still think being a young player's first playoff stint, he has to grow from this, and I'm
You
sure
gotta grow.
nobody's going to be more embarrassed or in the gym more than him. So again, I understand 100%. Let's get into this last game. The Boston Celtics up 3-1 over the Orlando Magic. Magic are fighting hard tonight. That's a tough matchup. Not trying to get closed out in game 5. Justin, what's your thoughts on this Orlando Boston series? Currently, the Magic are up 49-45.
Celtics in 5.
Just tonight.
Pablo, he got you one.
Pablo.
That's what I said.
You said Pablo.
Pablo Torres.
Pablo, he'll get you one. Shout out to Bancaro. But that's all they're gonna get today. Boston is just a better overall squad. I did expect them. I expected them to win at least 1 or 2 games. So if they win tonight, I won't be surprised. But I'm not going to call that. I think Boston is going to get them out of that because they're going to look up and see that New York won, so they want to go in on and get just as much as rest as New York is getting. That's the second round you want to see.
What's your thoughts, Calvin?
Yeah, Celtics in 5. Even with the injuries that the Celtics are facing, no Drew Holiday. Is Jaylen Brown playing tonight?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Okay. No Drew Holiday. Missed Tatum earlier in the series. They're still leading 3-1. Paolo just needs, the KCP has had a terrible series. Some of the help that he expected to have just hasn't had it. But Paolo, I love Paolo's game. He had a fantastic start to the season until he got injured. He just not enough there in Orlando. But they're an up and coming team. I think they're the team that we think that Justin thinks Houston is. I think Paolo is a true potential superstar emerging, and I'm looking forward to his growth. But it's not yet. It's not his time yet.
You think they the team Houston is? Houston's the number 2 seed in the West. Orlando's the number 7 seed, and you think they are a piece away, or they're good just the way they are?
And Orlando's top 2 players miss at least 30 games each season. Paolo,
I'm talking about
and
like
Wagner.
we talking about comparing them to what they're doing in the playoffs. You think Orlando, as currently constructed, next year could go on a run?
I think Orlando has the potential to go on a run more than Houston. Yes,
more than Houston. That's your point.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just think the West is tougher. If you catch a 2-7 matchup and you the 2 seed, and I think the 7 seed in the East is just going to be weaker than the 7 seed is going to be in the West because the West is deeper.
I think Orlando could have been a top 4 seed if they would have been healthier. That's all I'm saying. I think they would have been better, and they would have had a better season potentially because they would have had a better seed. They just had injuries, and they even at the injury point, they missed. Your top 2 players missed 25 games, and some of those overlap. And you're a 7 seed, you're still over 500. Now, granted, like you said, you play in the East, but those top 5 teams, 6 teams ahead of you are all pretty good teams. Detroit's just young, but I think they're all good teams as well. But I just like what Orlando's doing. I'm not sure if the addition of KCP will add to where they want to go this year, but I think Paolo. Looking at those 2 teams, I love Paolo, I love Wagner, and I just think what they can do, what they have potential to do going forward, sky can be the limit.
So you think they just ran into the buzzsaw in the Boston Celtics, and that's just not something they were ready to compete with. All right, cool. All right, so we got kind of a look at what we're looking at, and so let's project forward a little bit here. According to what you all are saying, I'm assuming both of y'all got the Knicks moving on, and they will face the Boston Celtics. So by the next time we speak, we should be into those series because the way it's projecting out, we will probably start those series this weekend. So right now we're looking at Knicks, Boston. We're looking at the Pacers and the Cleveland Cavaliers in the East. Let's take the East first. Cavs and Pacers, how long you see that series going and who's winning? Let's go with you, Calvin.
Cavs have been the best team all year. I'm not going to say that they stumbled to Indiana. I do think they will lose more games than they lost in the first round. I got Cavs in 6.
Okay, you got them losing 2. Yeah. All right, Justin, what's your thoughts on that? Cavs and Pacers.
Cavs in 5.
There you go.
I'll say this: Indiana is playing great basketball right now.
Well
Halliburton
balanced.
is back to proving why he's that guy. I think he kind of took a stretch off where people kind of thought that he
Yeah.
could have been overrated. I think it was a poll out saying he was number one guy and
Number
stuff.
one.
But he did take the Giannis for a whole series, and Giannis
Got
was
smoked
Giannis.
every game. Yeah.
Giannis was Giannis. Giannis gave you 30 and 20. Like Giannis was that dominant force, and they still beat him. I know Dame wasn't there and stuff like that, but you still got prime Giannis. Prime Giannis at a 4 or 5 seed should beat the Indiana Pacers. So they definitely balling. So let's give them that part of it. But I think Cleveland, especially if Darius Garland is playing, I think if he's not, and the pressure is on Cleveland to score just as much as Indiana is going to score, then now we talk. It'd be a little interesting. I'll say that. But if Cleveland running at full health, or at least 80% health, Cleveland wins this in 5.
Okay. All right, Justin, let's project out. You got we got Boston ultimately winning that series, and the Knicks you have winning the Detroit series. Let's see. Knicks and Boston. How do you see that series going down?
Knicks in 6. Yeah, I like that.
Tell us how.
I want. Well, one, we are avoiding the Garden in Game 7. We're just not doing that. So, I think we could definitely still want to, a game out the first 2 games. I just think that this is when you draft teams together. This is the team that we were looking at. This is the all the apples, all the peg, all the chess moves was for this team. So we have a team that's built to play the Boston Celtics. That's what they was telling us all year. That's what they was telling us in the offseason. That's what they was telling us on the podcast. This is supposed to be for the Boston Celtics. So if that's the case, Knicks in 6.
Calvin?
If you tell me Drew Holiday is not healthy and he hasn't played the last 2 games, I guess assuming they both win tonight, game 1 will be Saturday, Sunday. If you tell me he's not healthy, Boston in 6. If you tell me he's healthy, Boston in 5.
Hey man,
I just look. I think he guards Brunson well, and I think then you got to change the matchups, and then you'll have to play more Pritchard, and Jalen Brunson had the potential to go off, but I just think it's Tatum, it's Brown. Arguably, they will be the best 2 players on the court in this series at any
tough.
At any
That's
time.
tough. That's tough.
You're asking me to say Bridges is playing. You're asking me to say Bridges is playing better. He'll sustain it against those 2.
You said the
I'm
best
not sure.
2. Cat can definitely be the best player on the floor. That's not a stretch for him.
As good as he can play, I don't think he would play better than Tatum. As good as he can play, I don't think he would play better.
I think
than
Al Horford can play defense on Cat.
And I mean, I think if he has, will he have to play when he has to play Porzingis and he actually has to guard on the defensive end? Will that take away from his offensive game as well?
It ain't hard to guard Porzingis. You put a hand up, he ain't driving by you like that no more.
Okay.
It's gonna be interesting, man.
Shout out to Cat. Knicks in 5.
It's going to be interesting. I can't wait, man. The series is going to be probably the highest rated series outside of the LA series.
So let me ask you: when they lose in 5, do you make a phone call to a Phoenix area code and say Kevin Durant?
I won't even pick up that phone.
Now you happy with how they constructed? The league wants to see Boston and New York, LA and Golden State. That's what they want. They want those 2 matchups from either conference. All the stars in play. But
they going to get that in the conference finals. They could get the Warriors versus the Clippers.
They could. Let's move over to the West. So we all Golden State closing out Houston is the projection. And then on paper, the Minnesota Timberwolves should be closing out the Lakers, even though Calvin says it's going 7 and Lakers pulling it out. Let's just go under conventional wisdom and say that the Minnesota Timberwolves will win this series, even if it's in 5 or 6, whatever.
Say if.
Let's just say
You said
hypothetically.
win. Say
I
if.
said let's just say hypothetically. That's
If.
how it will go if we go with the chalk. Warriors and Wolves.
Well, I mean, the
How
Lakers
you
are
see
3
that
seed.
going? How you see that going down, Calvin?
First of all, let's say if the Lakers are the 3 seed, but I'd probably go I'd probably go Minnesota in 6. I think Ant will be if Ant's on the road, I'm gonna ride with him. I like the fact that like I said, it's gonna be a point where the size deficit in Golden State comes back to bite them. And I think it's that next series. You got Randall, you got Naz Reid, you got Gobert. Gobert may not even be a factor, but with Naz Reid able to stretch out and hit threes, with Randall currently hitting threes, you can't have Draymond guard both of them. I don't think they're going to lose the rebounding matchup. I just think they're going to get beat inside, and I just see Anthony Edwards being able to go bucket for bucket with Steph, not necessarily shot for shot. But if Steph puts up 40, I think Ant can put up 40. I think Ant's going to take that personally. He's starting to become like this legend killer. You know, we saw him go at KD, take him out. If he takes out LeBron, that's another one. If he takes out Steph, that's a trifecta. And I think that's what he's aiming for.
Angle.
So,
yeah,
I would go Wolves in 6.
And don't leave Luka out of this thing because
I mean,
Luka took him out last year and getting his revenge.
That's true.
So, interesting. Justin, your thoughts?
You know, now I gotta dive a little bit deeper into this game, and if that's the series. Then we talk about Draymond more likely than not going up against Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
If Julius, no, he doesn't even have to play Gobert.
What they got, Looney?
Yeah. Whoever. I mean, you can put a shooter sometimes on Gobert. That's the chess game that I'll be looking at. If Draymond can get into Julius Randle's head, and he could, his antics and the thing. I mean, he's definitely a modern day Dennis Rodman, and I'm already seeing it in the Houston series. They are just as physical as he is. But he got into Dillon Brooks' head. He's definitely gotten into Sengun's head. So that's what he's aiming for. That's what he's going to do. He's aiming to do that. So you're saying I have at times mentally fragile player in Julius Randle. He has got to block him out mentally. I don't think he can do that. If he cannot do that, and I don't think he can do that, I had the Warriors winning this series.
But
can he get in the head of Ant? That's the question.
Ant can score 40 a night. He needs Randle. He's going to need Randle.
I don't think he'll get I don't think he'll get Ant's head because there'll be someone to step in and take that bullet if necessary. And I think that could be Randle because if Golden State loses Draymond, I don't like their chances as much.
A bad Randle, like you just said earlier, Calvin Will, is he'll start to miss shots and then he'll start to have turnovers. That's extra possessions for a 3-point base team when it comes to the Warriors. Yeah, and Jimmy's there too.
I mean, good. And that's the other problem I have. Jimmy is great. Jimmy is Jimmy. I don't see Jimmy doing what he does defensively and giving you enough points like he needs to on this team to win. Jimmy has to score on this team to win.
Game break. The Knicks were just down 5.
95-92.
They got a layup, and then Cat just hit a big 3-pointer to tie the game up from deep. I mean, real deep. So,
that's one of those shots I was talking about.
Josh Hart is down, but I think he's getting up. But no, the referee let him play. K got fouled, and they ain't call it, which is wild. That whole sequence was bullshit. Excuse my French, but these refs is on something tonight. Anyway, that's just a little game. But I get what y'all saying about Draymond and all that kind of stuff. At the end of the day, Steph Curry got to come to play. Steph Curry has had stretches where he just don't be putting shots up. Or he'll go 1 for 4 from 3 and then explode in the second half. I think Minnesota, the way they hit that 3 ball, the Warriors going to have to knock down their threes, and they're going to have to defend that 3-point line. I think that is the X factor with the Timberwolves, their ability to hit such a high percentage from 3 points. So That's gonna be an interesting series if that's how it plays out. I'm not saying it's over, but that's the way it's projected. And then finally, the OKC Thunder, we know they're all the way in. But 2-2 Denver and Clippers, you all are projecting the Clippers to go. I'm projecting Denver to go. So this is the one where I'm not too sure, but let's just go off of what you all are saying, since I'm letting you all answer. Calvin, Denver, the Clippers and the Thunder. How you see that one going?
OKC has been the best team all year in the West, in my opinion. This is a tough matchup with a healthy Kawhi. OKC in 7. Only because they have home court, but Kawhi healthy, rested, James Harden going back to OKC for a chance to go to the conference finals. Zubac, look, Norm Powell. The Clippers have a ton of firepower and they're deep, and they probably have the best coach in the series. But OKC is they're just that much better, and I think this is OKC's year to get to the finals, to get over that hump. So I went OKC in 7, but it's a tough matchup, and I wouldn't be surprised if the Clippers won, but I just think OKC is going to be a little too much. They're going to have home court, and they're going to that crowd is just going to be excited for Game 7, excited to go back to the conference finals. So I got OKC in 7.
Okay, Brunson tweaked his knee and had to leave the game. Cat just missed a bunny, and Detroit up 2.
Y'all be riding campaign.
Just over 2 points left. Cade just ain't got blocked, but their follow-up layup. Detroit up 4, going just about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. But Brunson's on the bench. He's got 3 points in the fourth quarter. Every other game in the series, he scored in double digits. Justin, Thunder, Clippers.
Come on with these game breaks, bro. Thunder and
6.
Clippers in 7.
Ooh, okay.
We don't know if OKC is truly battle tested or not. Memphis was just nothing but a regular season extended series for them. And when they went against some real hard competition last year in the name of Luka Doncic, they pretty much got destroyed. So you have a Kawhi Leonard and James Harden that's sitting there. They are playoff battle tested. I think they can definitely still with the first 2, one in the first 2, and then now it's a series after that. And I do trust Ty Lue. I do trust what his game plan. I do trust his coaching over OKC's coach. So OKC might just got to wait one more year, even with the MVP.
Interesting. So y'all pick difference on that. Game break. Denver's up by 6 with under a minute to go. You know what I meant. Detroit. Scored the 2, down 4.
Knicks in 6.
Okay.
It's still time left, but it looked like it's over. Anyway, so it'll be interesting to track this again. Most of these series probably will be wrapped up by the weekend, getting into the next series. I've been thought it's been very interesting how some of these games been scheduled. You had some games already on Game 5, while other ones were still on Game 3, and it was just weird how the NBA did this mess. Some series is over, and Golden State hadn't even played that third game in the series yet. So we'll see how this all breaks down. And again, every other night is coming up soon. We'll see how that goes when that's going too. So NBA playoffs always fun. Let's get into some NFL draft feedback. Now look, last week was very interesting. I know the story of the draft was about Shedeur Sanders and why he wasn't drafted so early. And there's been plenty of commentary about that, and we'll definitely talk about that in a minute. But let's go through and give some of these guys their shine, who deserves it, the picks that were made. Some of them were very interesting. I didn't have any problem. Tennessee went out there. They got their quarterback. No one overall. Cam Ward went, which was projected. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars traded up, made a move, and they got Travis Hunter to come in to play corner and wide receiver. They did say that they will allow him to play both. Calvin, Jaguars jumping up to take Travis Hunter. What was your thoughts on that?
Duval.
It's the kind of move that Jacksonville does. You know, they mortgage some of their future to try to get themselves another weapon for Trevor Lawrence, quote unquote weapon. We don't know how he's going to be split between offense and defense. I think you can potentially get the best player in the draft, so you got to grade it better than you normally would. But did they give up a lot? They gave up a first round draft pick next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you don't think, I thought a lot about Jacksonville the last couple of years. I'm not going to do that again this year. I'm not making that same mistake. So you potentially give up another top 10 draft pick to give Cleveland even more ammunition, even more draft capital next year. You get the best player, but at what cost? I mean, I don't know. If you don't have a quarterback, you don't win this league. So if it's not Trevor Lawrence and you need a new quarterback, I don't care what Travis Hunter does. It won't be enough. But I like the move.
What's your thoughts, Justin?
Cleveland did what Cleveland do. I just seen that they somebody, I'm gonna say who Atlanta, I guess I would say. Atlanta offered Cleveland a package for Julio Jones. They took it. So Cleveland, that was the year Cleveland had Trent Richardson, and they ended up getting Brandon Wheaton and all that stuff. They thought that was the best move.
The next
whatever. You know what I'm saying? And so you give up a generational player for pieces. Here they are. They could have another generational type player. Even if he don't work out in one of those positions, he might be very good at the other position. Like he's an athlete. He's one of the greatest conditioned athletes already of all time. Like he's that. And they punted on it. So shout out to Jacksonville for scooping that up. So worst case scenario, he might not make it as a cornerback every play. Okay, great. Now you just concentrate on being a wide receiver. His raw athletic ability at wide receiver is already he was the best wide receiver in college football. And he doesn't have the nuances of being a great receiver yet. He doesn't have the footwork down and all those other stuff. He's just out there as being an athletic freak, and he's just that good. So he'll have time. He'll tighten up his routine, and he'll be more technically sound. I like Jacksonville for jumping up to get him. I have no issues with that. They need it.
Yeah, I mean, if you really examine what Cleveland did by trading back, if they felt like they wasn't going to get the value at that position, because honestly, I've been on record, I didn't think Cleveland's defense has been terrible the last 2 years, but they felt like they had Myles Garrett and they needed to pair him with another defensive tackle who could, help rush the pass and stop the run game. And that was the guy they went out there, and that's who they valued. That's what they did. I'll give him.
But chances are he about 2 years away.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Again, that's a hell of a decision to make. If anything, why not go get Abdul Carter? Put him. If you're gonna go get a D lineman,
bookends, and let's rock. That is a great point.
If you go up against Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and whoever else they're gonna have in Pittsburgh, and you feel like you need to give Myles Garrett some help, why not go get the best defensive lineman in the draft? So that was my issue with the decision. If you was going to trade back, like I wouldn't have traded back. If you just didn't feel like you needed a receiver or you didn't need a quarterback, even though we all think
if Abdul Carter with number 2, it would be no head scratches. Like, oh my God,
nobody.
That's true.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Ranked very high.
I get it. That's your Von Miller to Cam Newton. We get it.
And there's no issue putting 2 great pass rushes together. Anyway, but yeah, I love Abdul Carter going to the Giants. Even though I have a lot of questions about them at the quarterback position. I know they still got Russ, and they got who they got? Jameis Winston. Yeah.
And they drafted quarterback too.
They still got Tommy DeVito.
Yeah, whatever. But again, you got Napier, who a good young receiver. Like, so they got weapons. It's not like they don't have weapons. But I would have liked to see them try to beef up the offense to compete in the NFC East. But Abdul Carter, you can't go wrong with that. The pick that I want to concentrate on, to be honest with you, is Ashton Gentry at number 6. Now, excellent talent, but I just think the Raiders could have got a lot more value at that pick by trading back. Like, do you think Ashton Gentry is going to be a life changer in Oakland? I mean,
who was that running back last year? Exactly. So that's why they needed to go out and get Ashton Gentry.
But we know how running backs go in this league. You know what I mean?
No, but he's supposed to be he's
supposed to be Saquon or Derrick Henry. He puts up those numbers.
That's what he's supposed to be.
He put up those numbers.
And he makes Geno look better. You pair that up with one Geno, which at times can be very accurate,
and Brock Bowers.
To Brock Bowers, your intermediate game to short passing game, all that should be running like this.
No disrespect.
I like
anybody else's Knicks game cut off?
No, I got it. They coming out of timeout right now.
Yeah, they switched to the other game on my TV. What the hell? Anyway, go ahead.
Game's over. So no. I mean, I said what I said. I love the move. I don't know, Kevin. You ain't say what you think, but I personally love it.
I love it as well. I think just to fit that offense, the complement that offense, you can still upgrade the receiver position, but they have their quarterback of the present. You know, they have their running back of the future, and they have their tight end of the future, arguably the best tight end in the league at this point. So I like what they're doing on offense, and I think anything that you can do to, you know, get your playmakers the ball, and now you have more than one playmaker, I like it. I don't mind the move.
All right,
it ain't gonna be hard for them to get a receiver in Vegas. Ain't gonna be hard.
Sure.
We'll see. I just think that there was more value in trading back because of the way of this draft. If anything, it would work. It was little rumblings that the Cowboys might have traded up with him, but the Cowboys went with a guard at number 12. That's the first team on the board. Calvin, did you like that pick?
It stabilized that offensive line in front of Dak. They went with a couple running backs in the later rounds. I think it was 3 and 5 or 5 and 6. 1 or 2 of the rounds they went with running back, just to stabilize that offensive line, to protect Dak, to get better in the run game. I'm all for it. It was the kind of move that you make when you're trying to rebuild your offense as a whole. They had one of the best offensive lines 10 years ago, and they're trying to get back to that point. So I did like the pick. I didn't want them to go all in for Ashton Gentry. I thought it was too big of a move when you have so many holes, especially on offense, to fill. You know, that's a move you make when you're close, and I don't think the Cowboys are close to where they want to be, especially in the NFC East.
I just think they need a running back. I really do. And I think that would have been a hell of a move for that team, particularly with that offense they got. They got the quarterback. They got the receiver. That's the type of team you go out and add a running back to it and be like, that can be what puts us over the top. So I thought that was a missed opportunity on the Cowboys' part. At number 19, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went out and got another wide receiver, which is very interesting given the fact that they got hella wide receivers. Justin, your thoughts on your team's first pick?
Emeka Egbuka. He's one of the Ohio State's best receivers of all time, and that says a lot with that lineage that comes out of there. The fact of the matter is, I was shocked. I'm not even gonna lie. I was expecting, if you excuse Travis Hunter, the top 2 cornerbacks right after him were still on the board, and we was definitely looking for a secondary relief. But when you have, like I said, besides Travis Hunter, and people were very unsure about T-Mac that went to Carolina. This guy is a sure-handed, out the slot, great. He's already a great receiver. So they chose to balance and put forth pressure on the future all at the same time with one pick. So basically, if Mike Evans, those that don't know, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin all got hurt against the Baltimore Ravens, which I can't stand that game. We didn't win a game until Mike Evans got back. We was pre-treated. So that's help for that in case those guys are injured. In case Chris Godwin isn't 100%, is future is backup for that. In case Jalen McMillan has a bad second season, is backup for that. So I end up loving the pick because of all it can do. Mike Evans, he can't really hold us from ransom if he goes by year. It's okay. We might be comfortable with letting him go. If J Mac wants too much, it does a lot for our flexibility when you have someone under contract for the next 3 to 4 years without having to do anything with it. So I like it. They are putting a lot of stock into Baker Mayfield. He has probably the top 4 best receivers in the league. 4, not 3, but 4. And that says a lot. And we're gonna just keep it rocking. So I had to love it, and I love it. I had to think about it though. I had to go through all the blogs and all the what are they trying to do? It's a future play, but it can do it right now. Because how many times do you have arguably the second best receiver sitting there at 19? That doesn't happen a lot.
True. All right, so we were on Shedeur Sanders' watch all night, and we were looking at it was a stretch where almost every team already had a quarterback, and then the next team that looked like they would need a quarterback, then all of a sudden the New York Giants traded back in to the first round. And
we all were saying that on the live stream.
Yeah, it was like, okay, all right. The Giants jumped back in there. Looks like they're going to pull the trigger and go get Shedeur at number 25. Makes perfect sense. Let him study under Russell for a couple years. You got Jameis. That quarterback run will be a hell of a little experience for him. And then they go out and draft a different quarterback in Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Great mobility. We saw he was able to move around, but that guy did not do half of what Shedeur Sanders was able to do in college. Calvin, what was your thoughts when Jackson Dart went off the board at 25 to the Giants ahead of Shedeur?
I had to double check. The only game I remember from Jackson Dart is him losing to
Florida.
Losing to Alabama. I was going to say Alabama. What are you going to say?
Florida too.
I know nothing. I didn't know very much about him. It was a surprising pick, and now you have the Giants in. I don't know if it's CYA mode or just releasing the conversation between Daboll and Shedeur, and why he personally didn't want him selected at that position to go to the Giants. How they gave him a playbook, or they gave him call sheets, playbook, whatever it was, and when they decided to go through it, he wasn't as into it as he wanted him to be, and he kept trying to change subjects and play around in the meeting and stuff like that, and he turned Daboll off specifically. I don't know if it was Daboll, an offensive coordinator, or who was in there, but he specifically mentioned how Brian Daboll, who's the head coach of the New York Giants, was turned off from that meeting, and how
was this that private workout they asked for like the week before?
I don't think so. I don't think this had anything to do with the workout specifically. It was him talking about the meetings and talking about the offensive playbook. And this was after they had, scouts at every Colorado game this year. So they saw him all throughout the year. And then you have this one meeting, and supposedly that turned Brian Daboll off specifically. And I guess that's why he was removed from their draft board. That's just what's going on out there as of now. But back to Jackson Dart, completely unexpected. It got to a point where I wasn't sure what the Giants were going to do at quarterback. Maybe they're waiting for next year, but I don't see how. Quarterback is hit and miss in his league, especially in the draft. But I don't see how this quarterback potentially makes his team better right now when he wasn't even the best quarterback available at the time of your pick.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And Justin, what was your thoughts when Jackson Dart went off the board and Shedeur was still sitting there after the Giants traded back in to get him?
I thought it was easy, but that was an interesting point Calvin just made. Maybe he has a problem with reading certain playbooks or maybe certain terminology. So if you have a scout at every game, you might end up knowing that. So then you put him under the fire, and then he reacted the way he reacted. So maybe they kind of knew that. And normally when the coach or the coach/coordinator and the QB can't get on the same page, who gets fired first? It's always the coach or whatever, or the coordinator. So I think he kind of knew that. So he put that out there to say, before I get fired, this guy can't do what I need him to do. I don't like that, but I can see that's happening in a sense, right? Kyler Murray-ish or whatever. Maybe he needs a certain way to understand certain playbooks. Regardless of that, I ended up thinking that was the case, and then when it wasn't, I was like, okay, second round for him. You start to think, well, the fix could be in. All those things start. It's percolating. The water's getting hot, but it ain't boiling yet. I see what's going on. All right. So I'll let you continue on, but just for that initial reaction, I was like, all right, the eyebrows raised, but we're not saying nothing yet.
Now let's go with it because it didn't stop there.
Here we go.
Round after round after round. The draft started on Thursday, folks.
No fifth round.
Shedeur didn't get picked until Saturday in the afternoon. Like the president of the United States, who none of us care for, made a message talking about it's a travesty the league is not drafting Deion's son. I mean, there were posts from people, even my pastor got online and wrote a long soliloquy like this the uproar from around the country of folks who are like-minded like us and think like us and look like us just felt like this was a surefire collusion attempt by the league to humble this young man, to send a message to Deion Sanders that you're not bigger than the NFL, that your son ain't just going to walk in here, that this will not be another Bronny James situation where you're just getting drafted off the strength of your daddy. Like, this is just like, man, the disrespect. This guy was rated on Mel Kiper's draft board as like the number 2 player in the draft, the number 1 quarterback. Like, and he went in the 5th round, 144th pick. I mean, team after team who needed quarterbacks selected other people ahead of him. The New Orleans Saints, who is desperate for somebody. Like, this was pathetic. And now you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are banking on Aaron Rodgers not retiring to come out and be their quarterback. Mike Tomlin, who is praised universally as this guy who wraps his arm around young men and brings them in, he didn't even vouch to go out and get Shedeur, and they have no young quarterback.
He didn't even get his son, so he didn't even draft his son.
But still, you need a quarterback, and you know you need a quarterback. And it took the Cleveland Browns, who had about 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks on the roster, including the guy who's getting paid more guaranteed money than any quarterback in NFL history, as your starting quarterback. And that's who picks him, with Joe Flacco as the projected starter for 2025.
He's the projected starter. I ain't on that.
I mean, if we should call him not healthy.
Yeah, don't forget Deshaun still hurt.
No, I figured it was gonna be. I think it was gonna be one of them 2 rookies. That's why I said I didn't know.
You think Shedeur coming right in?
I think it's gonna be Shedeur
In the 5th round. They not going.
Or
he gotta prove it. He
gotta prove it. Clearly, they ain't. If he was that high priority, they'd have picked him earlier.
I agree with that. I'm saying one of those 2 quarterbacks will be starting. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway, what was your thoughts when the Browns found after he fell and fell and fell? Well, let's talk about that part first. Let's start with you, Cal.
There was not a reasonable explanation to why he fell out of the 1st round.
No, it could be reasonable. It wasn't a football explanation.
It wasn't a reasonable football explanation. I'll say it like that. If you want to say anywhere in the 1st round, I'm okay with, because as we were talking about last week, the overwhelming majority of teams didn't need a quarterback for one reason or another. Either you had your quarterback or you had a championship level quarterback, whatever the case may be. But as the week has gone on and the number of teams that have come out with their reasons or their excuses to cover their ass as to why he was not drafted in a specific position, and even from Cleveland's perspective, to when they passed on him, 6 times? Twice in the 1st round, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, so 5 times in order to draft him, and now you're talking about having him you're talking about plastering him all on Brown social media, all on NFL social media. So now you're going to make money off of his name. You want to make money off of what he's going to do in Cleveland. Seeing him going to the locker room for the first time. When was the last time you seen him to a 5th round draft pick? So obviously he's not a 5th round draft pick. If you're trying to if you're believing in his talent at this point. So it was about proving a point. Now, was it proving a point to Shedeur? Was it proving a point to Deion? it shouldn't matter. Talent outweighs all. If you want to say there's a reason why, it's a football reason why you want to draft him, that's perfectly fine. This message doesn't go out to the Baltimore Ravens or to the Cincinnati Bengals because they weren't looking for a starting quarterback.
Mhm.
But for the teams looking for a starting quarterback that passed on this young man multiple times and you don't have a reason why, and now you want to come out and cover your ass, that's who this should be addressed to, because you're the reason why you're trying to prove a point, or for whatever reason you don't like him coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to change your culture. When it's the same stuff that Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield did,
Mhm.
there's no reason, in my opinion, this is not a slight to this individual, that Shedeur Sanders was not a first round draft pick, but Tim Tebow was. There's no reason on earth why that was possible.
Jeez. Well, yeah, Tebow played at Florida and won national title game, so I get that part. But anyway, your point is valid. I get it. Let's not get lost in minutia. But yeah, just ridiculous. Just any final thoughts on Shedeur and all of that?
So the number one thing that people was having issues with is his brashness, his cockiness, his arrogance, his overly confident within himself, and they mentioned they have an issue with his overall character. Okay, have you heard any teammates talk about how bad he was? No. Have you heard any teammates talk about how bad Dion was? Never did. Never did. So okay, all right, okay, cool. That's not enough. All right. Jax Albridge, I think I have his name correct. That was the guy that prank phone called him.
God. Oh my
and he got his number through his father. I say apple don't fall far from the tree, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna condemn the father for the situation.
But why did he even have the phone number? Atlanta want to look at no quarterback.
He might just gave it out to all the teams.
But the
defensive coordinator?
I was weirded up about that too. Like the GMs and the draft room people,
you know.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that he ended up having it. And he made that phone call and he put that boy under that he put that man under that spotlight. Mm. And did he react like the typical angry black man?
Nope.
No, he did
laughed
not.
It off.
He laughed it off and kept it as humble as you can be. And in a world that you know, everyone's watching you, you're not where you're supposed to be at. You're questioning probably things that your father said. You're questioning probably things. He probably is questioning himself at this particular point in time. Am I really this good? Am I really this bad? All those things that he could question himself about. He stood there, laughed it off, and you saw no issues. If that's not an example of his character, then I can't tell you a better situation. Because I know had that been me, I might would have crashed out right there. Like, is that people playing games with me? What the heck is going on?
That is a great point. That's a great point.
That's why I had to throw all this back at the NFL owners, GMs, whoever the case may be. You question this boy for this man. He's over 20.
Young man.
He questioned this young man about everything, and all he did was just probably say that he's legendary, that he's a little bit. He said, "I'm a culture changer." Don't you want your quarterback to be a culture changer? Don't you want your quarterback to change whatever it is whatever losing that you're dealing with? So it's just it's a lot of negativity here, and I have 100% issue with all of it. Like I said, if you were trying to get back at his father, you got it. You won. If you were trying to get back at him, you got it. You won. If you think that he's not that good, well, he's just going to prove everybody wrong. So the worst thing you can do for someone that you think is arrogant, someone that you think is too cocky, is to give him an opportunity regardless. And he end up being really, really good, if not great.
That's a great point you made about, think about it. He live streamed, him and his brother, live streamed the entire time. Yeah. So you couldn't slip. You know what I mean? Like, he couldn't show any sign of pissed offness, disappointment. Every time he got passed on, he kept a smile. He kept his cool. He didn't look stressed. He didn't look angry. He didn't cuss nobody out. The guy him and his brother was cracking jokes, having a good time, the entire weekend and was ever so grateful. And when they got drafted, he celebrated like anybody else would celebrate when they got drafted. He wasn't over the top cocky or like, I don't want to go there. None of that. Like everything you want. Look, does he bring a flair to the game? Of course he does. His father is Deion Sanders. This guy was always going to be with some type of, they said he's bringing too much NBA flair to the NFL, and they don't want that. Like he the first person to be flashy or something. Like, stop it. We just seen guys every draft, somebody comes out there, bright pink suit, sunglasses. Like that. This is not the first person that's been flashy to play in the NFL. This is stupid. And we've seen champions. Michael Irvin won titles. Let's stop playing with it. You know what I mean? Like Deion Sanders is getting the brunt of. They didn't like the people thinking that originally he said his son wasn't going to play for certain teams. Archie Manning did the same thing. You know what I mean? And I think they wanted to make a point.
One of those teams.
They wanted to make a point. He did say Cleveland, if you recall. He didn't want his son playing for Cleveland. Again, I think the NFL wanted to make a point. These rookies aren't going to come in here and tell us where they're going to play. John Elway did it. Eli Manning did it. Different players over
here. I bet you Archie Manning does it next year.
I mean, that's the game. And I'm not going to fault him to say, well, yeah, I don't fault Shedeur and Deion. Again, this is a business. And again, somebody made an excellent point. I can't remember who it was. I think it might have been Des Bryant. He said, now, just remember, when they want you to take less money or they want their lunch, to remember how long they made you wait. Just remember when you had that phenomenal career and you get to the negotiating table and they want you to take less money or they want you to come down off your number, remember how long they made you wait. And I think that was the same type of mentality Lamar Jackson had when he sat there in draft room all night long and the Ravens traded back in. They went and got him, but they when it was time for negotiate their contract, ain't no discounts. I want my money. You know what I mean? Like, because they cost that man a lot of money by him not going in the first round. Think about that part too. Yeah. It's a scale to this thing. Yeah. By him going in the fifth round, now he not getting paid no extravagant amount of money. So again, that was a lot to this. Not that he's hard off for money. He's gonna make plenty. I think he signed a deal with Nike. I mean, his nil deal and all that. He gonna make money.
And something else was crazy. Like when even they tell you
stop, Kev. NIL. Stop saying nil, yo. I said that to you before. I hate when you say his nil money. What is it? The NIL money. That's what it is. It is
name, image, likeness. But anyway, the crazy thing when Travis Hunter got drafted, and he made a comment. He said, "Look, I want to keep this real quick. Blah blah blah. I want to make sure I see Shedeur get drafted as well." So there was no indication. So everything that he heard to that point let him believe that he was going to get drafted at some point in the first round at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. I agree. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, so yeah, we'll see. And Travis Hunter is basically an addition to Deion. Yeah, his brother went to Tampa. Yeah.
Okay. I knew he got signed. Didn't know where.
All right, but let's take a minute to talk about the best team in the NFL. So the Baltimore Ravens.
All right.
In the first round, the Ravens went out and drafted Malachi Starks out of Georgia, best safety in the draft, pairing him with Kyle Hamilton. A lot of people were saying that, they were a little shocked because they assumed that Kyle Hamilton was going to stay. But no, it's been stated. Kyle want to be back playing down towards the line of scrimmage. This will provide him that flexibility. Starks was phenomenal at Georgia, playing that high free safety position, covers a lot of field, can cover the slot, great mobility, great intelligence. I was very happy with this first round pick, even though I wanted a linebacker. They went out and got a linebacker in the second round, and they went out and got excellent value in the fourth round with Buchanan out of Cal, which was highly rated. And then they took if you really look at Mike Green in the second round, and we're going to get into this, he had a lot of trouble. This was a lot of people saying they didn't know if he would be drafted. He really had value. He could have went high in the first round, but he had some domestic violence issues and that really tanked his draft stock.
So
Another person with issues going to the Baltimore Ravens. That was the headline.
But that was the only reason why he fell as far as he did. But he said he got high first round talent. So for the Ravens to get him the way they did, if he can keep his nose clean, I'm fine with it. Which about you,
Or keep
Calvin?
his spouse's nose clean.
Stop it. Allegedly. Allegedly.
The way that they described
Allegedly.
it was an incident. It was allegedly an incident in high school, and then
High school.
when he went to Virginia Tech, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a second incident, and that caused him to leave and go to Marshall, and that's where he kind of bloomed or blossomed. I'm sorry, and they say he's top 15 if you just look at across the board and remove those issues. So we'll see what happens. But in regards to just the draft in its entirety, I love the Malachi Starks pick. I've seen pundits talk about he's the best defensive player in the draft, not named Travis Hunter. So I love that pickup. I love the Emory Jones pickup as well. I like him as a potential guard. Yeah, and I think I think he has a potential to play, and I think the Vincent, the guy from Alabama A&M, he's going to be a project.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me Buchanan as a linebacker, if you're telling me he's potentially going to be a starter down the road, not this year obviously, but down the road potentially, I'm okay with it. I thought they could have gone a second edge pass rusher or defensive lineman. I'm really surprised they used all their picks. That's what really surprised me. I thought they were going to use some of the picks to move up or potentially move back to next year's draft.
We're going to trade up about 5 or 6 picks.
I thought they were moving picks. I didn't think they were going to use all these picks. You look, how many of these players are going to make the team? What, 3 or 4?
You got to put them in certain situations.
Well, they lost a lot of players in the offseason. If you recall, we lost some of our depth. So you definitely keeping your six-round pick in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
You keeping. I think you keeping your kicker.
Well, I mean, this is my thing. I think you're signing the cornerback.
Oh, you definitely keeping that kicker.
Yeah. I think you're signing the cornerback. So I don't think you're done in free agency. I think you're signing another defensive end. I think you're either going to get Judon or the other former Raven that finished the season in Detroit, blanking on his name right now. So I think you're going to sign a couple of free agents. That's why I'm saying.
Davis? Is he on free agent?
No, he was in
Zadarius. Zadarius Smith.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So I think you're signing one of them. So you're still going to sign a couple free agents.
I think Calais Campbell might come back.
He signed with Arizona.
He did sign?
Yeah.
Because Brandon Williams, not Brandon Williams, big fella retired. Defensive
say Travis Jones. I know
not Travis Jones.
I know you're talking about.
He retired.
Michael Pierce.
Michael Pierce. So you need a D tackle. Which I was shocked they didn't draft one until late. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I don't care. Look, they went out and got 2 high quality picks with their first 2 picks. To me, the draft get an A+ right off the bat for me. Yeah. Those are starters. Those are starters right now. So I'll take Mike Green if he plays the way he played in college. I'll take him over what we got at outside linebacker right now. Wouldn't you? I think Ajabo haven't shown me enough to me to feel like,
yeah. I mean, I'm not taking him over right now.
Malik Harrison.
I thought he was inside. So
he's something.
He's in rotation. He's in rotation with Van Noy and Owe. So yeah, I agree with that.
Anyway, yeah, should be. I like the draft. I thought it was good. Not as to me that 6th round when you got 1, 2, 3, 4 picks, and you got a receiver, which I don't know. I'm not 100% familiar. He played in Colorado, but I don't remember him being like a guy.
I remember hearing the name.
I would like y'all to have a taller guy. He's only 5'11", so if you're going, this is why you have the 6th round for projects. That's what I want. I would want to get someone
next year. I mean,
I'm talking about right now. When you have 5 picks in the 6th round, I will want them to go with maybe an athletic specimen that you can find, and then have him be under the tutelage of a D-Hop or something like that. That's value. 5'11", he'll probably be cut.
Yeah, pretty much. Or play special teams because we did lose.
Oh, special teams. You got so many other people that's in his position already. That's all that's within his height and stuff.
But I'll never be mad at taking the corner. I'll never be mad at taking the linebacker.
Oh no, you
and,
and hopefully
and
you
you
find
need
dominant in the
offensive
rough.
linemen. So
Mhm.
anyway, I overall not terrible. Very good, high value at the top of it. To be drafting as late as we did and to get the value we got,
That's true.
tip your hat to
That's
EDC and
true.
Aussie, man. They was in that war room getting work done. Always. Anyway, let's move on to the Orioles before we get out of here. We getting late in the night. What the hell's going on, man? So I come back, right? You know what I mean?
So we blaming you.
You have to. You have to blame me. Y'all convinced me that the Orioles, things have changed. Things are for the better. I really didn't know nothing about the team. I haven't watched. Just been watching y'all cheering from the sidelines. Like, I'm coming. I'm going to check them out. And last night they beat the Yankees. Very good. Very good. And then the night, I turned on the game. Okay. Smoked right off the bat. Like, just it's a football score.
First
Just
three
pathetic.
passes. Home run.
Just pathetic. Just I don't know if it's the rotation of the pitchers. I like that the Japanese guy we picked up. He's not bad.
Yeah. Pitched last night.
He's our best pitcher right now.
Yeah, he's good. You know what I mean?
That says a lot.
But yeah. Justin, break it down for. What's your thoughts on the current Baltimore Orioles?
If it wasn't for Tommy, we would be even worse than what we are now. That's the Japanese guy. Homeboy, I think is Kyle Gibson. He came back. He came back from injury. He's not ready, and he got smashed. He got smashed early. So that's just put emphasis on the fact that we can't get people to come back off of injury without suffering huge defeats. We just all over the place right now, and
that's a good way to put it.
We're scrambling, and a lot of this should have been. I'm not gonna say this all season, so I'm not even gonna talk about what should have happened in the off season, this past off season. You're gonna have to find some things to get more players in here. They just put Grayson Rodriguez, supposed to be ace. They put him on a 60-day DL stint, so he's gonna be out for. They're gonna be out even longer. So ain't no help coming no time soon.
It's retroactive though, right? So
well, that means he's not ready now.
Correct, but I mean it's not like 60 days from now. It's 60 days from start of the season. So it's just another 30 days.
Let's hope that. That's a whole nother month. That's a lot of games.
Yeah, June.
Yeah, so that's what what I remember hearing was him and Cowser due back, projected to be due back around the same time. But Grayson, they said Grayson's not even throwing yet, so he's not pitching. So at that point, you're going to go through rehab to get him warmed up, to get him kind of stretched out, and then go to AAA, and then bring him to the major. So you're talking about July at that point, because you're going to give him a couple starts. You got Westberg who's on the 10-day IL now, so you got injuries, you got bad play, and you got no pitching as well. But yesterday, when you had pitching and you had the Mountain closing as well, it was a phenomenal game. And then you come out today, 3 home runs in the first 3 batters. It's 6-0 in the first 2 innings, and you're talking about bringing back Kyle Gibson, who this is his first start this year. If they're healthy, if you tell me they get healthy, and they're 5 games under 500 in June, I'll take it. It doesn't look like it's going to be like that because they can't score, they can't stop anyone. They've won 1 series this year so far. It's just luckily no one is running away with the AL East.
Yeah.
I think the Yankees are 16-13, 17-13, something like that. And they're 6 games behind, but that just tells you it's only but so far you can get behind before we're going to start talking about next season. Or you're going to fire the manager, whichever happens first.
But even that, first. It's not going to change your pitching. I don't care who you fire at this point because it's consistent. It's consistent, and it's look. I get it. The hitting ain't great either. I'm not excusing that. No. I'm not excusing that. But this league is about pitching at the end of the day, and your bats go cold. If you can keep it close, you can get hot. You know what I mean? But right now,
it's stuff coming out of the dugout saying that he's preaching to deaf ears. Like they're not. Yeah. Which would explain some of the hitting,
I told you I'd have got rid of his ass after they put up 30 on us like they did. whoever that was.
It was 28.
Whatever. Just
Yeah.
felt like
that
35.
was at home. That was at
Ridiculous,
home,
man.
right?
People pay money. And me and King was talking about getting tickets to the game tomorrow. I don't know.
I mean, it's a giveaway this weekend.
It's nice weather. It's nice weather. It's a good time to go down the yard. And, it's Yankees. I was like, I might go down there for the closeout game. It's 2-2 rubber matchup. But damn, put a product on the field. People don't mind going to see.
You're guaranteed to see a show on offense, just not our offense.
From somebody.
So.
Yeah, but you never know. The Orioles, like I say, they played well last night. And then tonight they get smoked. Maybe they bounce back tomorrow. I don't know, but
I don't even know who's pitching tomorrow.
Yeah, but good weather. You want to go down the yard and watch a game, man, and feel like the team got a chance. I just don't get that vibe right now. So need to turn things around. Before we get out of here, let's talk a little wrestling. WrestleMania was great. We talked about that in detail last week. But now we're moving on to Backlash and post-WrestleMania season. Lot going on. We saw a couple of matchups set up. They are having a quick turnaround because next week is Backlash in St. Louis. So in St. Louis, Randy Orton is going to get his title shot against John Cena, renewing that feud that we've seen for many years. One of the most memorable John Cena Randy Orton matches was that I Quit match where he got tied to the post and beat with the cane. And man, that was probably one of the best matches those two have ever had. But it's always good to see. It's Cena's last year, so I think he'll be playing the hits a little bit, facing some of his greatest opponents on his way out. I foresee Cena winning this matchup and moving on with his tour, but I think it'll be entertaining. Probably won't be a conclusive finish that they could probably come back to later if need be, but Randy catching him with the RKO out of nowhere last week and then them setting up this matchup on SmackDown, I thought that was all entertaining, and it's a good little nostalgia on Cena's final run. Calvin, your thoughts, Cena, Orton?
Yeah, I think we all agree this is Cena's swan song, so he's going to kind of run past some of his favorite opponents. But I think the card as a whole is looking promising, but this is the only match that I'm looking forward to thus far, with potentially, Roman and CM Punk not facing Seth and Braun Breaker yet. So, but I don't know what else there's going to be on this card, but I'm looking forward to this matchup.
We'll talk about it.
I'm looking forward to Cena getting some of that ring rust out the way, getting some of that ring rust out and kind of putting on a better show. But him and Randy, I think that would be a good matchup. Randy is always good for a good match, especially when the opponents is on an equal playing field as himself.
Justin, your thoughts? I know you're a Randy guy.
I'm not too big of a Randy guy.
King.
That is definitely King. For this situation, just the opposites of what's going on. One face, one heel, which Randy was forever a heel. John Cena is smaller, than Randy Orton. In all, he's shorter. Randy is more muscular than John Cena is right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. So I can go back and look at all their matches, but clearly Cena always had the power edge. Randy can push him around a little bit more now. Like it's not the same. So that'd be definitely it's nice to see that these two can fight and it could be a whole different match than the ones that I saw before. That's actually pretty cool to see. I do want Randy to start winning some more championships. I think he is. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna retire no time soon, but I think he should be the one to be 18-time champion. I think he should be the one to break it. He's the one that never left. Cena went Hollywood, and shout out to Cena for going Hollywood. He deserved it. But King made a point, and I bang with it. It's like Ric Flair had all the belts, but Hulk Hogan was the guy, right? Randy Orton can have all the belts. John Cena can still be the guy. He was it. That don't mean you got to have all the belts. Randy needs to have something solidified because he's the one that was homegrown, just like John Cena was, just like Brock was, just like Batista was from that draft class, and he's the one that never left.
I don't think he needs belts, though. I mean, I
like it
as a star.
If you notice, they keep bringing it up now. They all starting that 14 times keep getting tossed around a little bit more.
No, I agree, but I don't think he's beat Cena. I mean,
No, I don't think he's gonna beat Cena.
No,
I don't think Cena beats him.
I don't think he beats him this time. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't think Cena. I think it's going to be some type of interference which
DQ.
cancels the match. And now, because Backlash, you could do that. You could have a interruption which calls to the ending of a match with no problem. I think that happens. I don't think Orton loses, and he didn't beat later on in the year.
There's an article floating around. I don't know if y'all saw it. That it's a percentage of who. Well, it's a guesstimate of who Cena's opponents will be throughout the year, and in order based off his scheduled appearances, and basically, it's like it's Orton, it's CM Punk, it's God, I'm blanking, and it's Cody Rhodes again. It's a tag match. But at the end of the year, basically they have him losing losing the title back to Cody.
Yeah. That's clearly the story. I mean, that's clearly the story. But we'll see. But I think it'll be a slow walk to get there because he has to go through certain guys just to show. And he might throw in a AJ Styles or something like that just to say he did it.
I hope not.
That was one of his greatest opponents. I mean, if you go back. I mean, if you're going to do it. CM Punk has to be on there. That was one of his greatest opponents.
Yeah.
You have to play the hits. And some of these guys that he had, I think you got to do the Roman match. I think you do. Like, why wouldn't you? Like, the two biggest stars of this newer era, like, you got to do it. But anyway,
not everything has to be one-on-one.
No, yeah, you can do it in some type of way.
That's true.
This new collection of talent, they don't have a name.
Yeah, they do.
What are they called?
Trifecta or something.
Of terror or something like that.
Trifecta of terror. Okay. But I like Seth and I love Braun Breaker. This guy is a beast. I think he's a future
world the third
champion. I think before he got destroyed last night, it could have been Sami Zayn. But
that's what I thought it was going to be. But nah.
Because it would have made sense. I think Sami could have turned on Jay. Because they kind of hinted at that last week with that long ass celebration. They wanted you to think he was going to jump his ass. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I think that's the eventual, like, long road, like the end game for it. And I think that's eventually going to happen. Heyman talking to him and like convincing them and trying to whisper in his ear, like, look, man, you deserve this. Jay didn't deserve to win that title before you. Remember, you were supposed to be the guy. Remember that? You had Roman beating Montreal. Like, Heyman going to be such a convincer. I love this role for him. And I think they can use one more piece in this group. And I think they'll be unstoppable. They'll be fun to watch. But I'm loving this crew together. I think you hold them off from getting their hands on maybe a big tag match at SummerSlam against Punk and Roman Reigns. But they can do a lot of stuff with this. What's your thoughts, Calvin?
Yeah, I'm liking it so far. I'm just wanting to see what's next. And we're just anticipating the final member and how it goes from there. I love how Seth is kind of becoming what he hates the most, and it's going to play out in that storyline. I'm loving this Heyman angle. I'm loving everything about it. I'm just eagerly anticipating more, and you can tell that they're going to roll it out slowly now. Next, at least post Backlash, but phenomenal fighting so far.
And I like that they didn't go straight to put him against Jey Uso. You know what I mean? Yeah. Keep them apart. Let Jay get a couple wins.
I don't like Jay in facing Logan Paul though.
Hey man, get him a good.
They gotta give him somebody so he can get a win. Yeah, man. He gotta get some wins under his belt.
Give him a win before he give it the belt.
Give him a good win, man. Don't put him against somebody the fans automatically, especially this group. The fans these are not heels. The fans are behind Seth and Braun. You put them in there with Jay, who's gonna split the audience on them. Keep them separate. Let both of these guys exist in their own ecosystem. Justin, your thoughts?
You know, I love it. I love Seth. I love Breaker being together. I think it's one, like you said, it's one more person, and I think I got two potentials. Okay. You have to go young. Sami Zayn can carry the mic for himself, so he wouldn't even need Paul Heyman. He wouldn't even need. Sami he's a great filler for TV. He could definitely feel it. So I don't like that angle. If he didn't join up with the Miz, I think a Carmelo Hayes would be perfect for this trio. If you don't give me Carmelo, which I will love, Austin Theory, he is prime and ready to be solo, and like he had that initial push, but fans didn't like him. Why? Because he can't talk. He can't talk.
No,
that's why you have Heyman. He can work too. He's a great worker.
Right, but he's the type of worker that the fans get behind.
He is a specimen, Paul.
They'll get behind.
That's for wrestling.
They'll get behind.
You need an evolution type of a lineup here. This is what you need. You need to bring in.
I think he drags that group down.
Go up. No, not under Heyman. Not under Heyman.
I think Heyman's the equalizer. Yeah, I agree.
I think you need somebody with edge to him. He's too white meat baby face type, white meat heel.
Because he got that thing with the Austin with the Australian dude. He give him a low blow.
Nah, even before that, it's just that's why he's not on TV right now.
Because he can't talk.
It's not his talking. He's not a terrible talker. I think you need somebody with a little bit of an edge to him.
So if you put Sammy in the situation, how does that?
No. I was using Sammy as a guy that Heyman could try to just manipulate and convince, and then utilize as a piece.
I'm asking you.
That's what I'm saying. For me, the problem is you need a main event type of guy, not somebody that the fans can look at as the guy that's going to take a pin in a 6-man. It need to be the guy that where like all three of these guys are the guy.
Who is the guy?
I'm about to give you the name. God damn. This is what I say. If you bring back the big fella, the Islander, remember what's his name? The one who jumped off the cage and got hurt. You know what I'm talking about. Bronson Reed. Put him with them. That's somebody that they can elevate and move up to another level, or bring in. You might not know who he is. Jeff Cobb. He could debut with them. Come out the crowd. Jeff Cobb is.
You don't need Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, in my opinion.
Put Jeff Cobb with him. Then you can do tag team matches. You can win the titles. You can dominate. Seth can be the single guy. They can each one-on-one intercontinental. Bruh, I'm telling you, it got to be somebody the fans like. It can't be some retread, or bring up somebody from NXT that people were like that could be a guy like that we haven't seen on the main roster. But Austin Reed, nah. We've seen that. That story's been
first. You said Austin Reeves, and I'm talking about Austin Theory.
I meant Austin.
Wrong white guy, sir.
No, but there's plenty of guys that if you can fit that role that you.
All right. So you said basically, some Polynesian dude, right? That's basically what you said.
Guy with some edge to him,
Australian / Polynesian guy.
Even put a black guy with him. I don't care. Like put Trick with him. I like the Carmelo edge angle you was going with. But I think
that's why. Yeah, Kevin, who you got?
I'll rip the Austin Theory. When it wasn't Sammy, I was thinking Austin Theory.
Give me some flavor, man. Like they were too white.
But I think you're thinking about him what he currently is, not what he can be under this faction. I think that's why you don't like it.
I don't like it.
I think the potential is there.
The faction is to upgrade somebody tremendously.
I'll do my homework. Yeah. I agree, but I can come up with 5 names, and I can tell you why they all be better. Shit, put Aleister Black with him. Did you see him return the other day? Put Aleister Black with him. Instant credibility.
Too weird. Now he's too weird.
Instant credibility. That guy, put him with them. Coming out there with the black mask, kicking like come on, man. That's the guy. Yeah. Before he got cut, he was on the verge of being world champion, man.
I wouldn't mind that even.
I wouldn't mind it. He got the good size and the good moveset where he can have great matches.
If I remember correctly, he doesn't. He's decent on the mic, though, right?
He do them slow Undertaker style promos. He can have Heyman do the talking for him, and they be sensational. Anyway, I'm just saying, I'm not an Austin Theory fan, so maybe I'm just being biased. Rusev returned last week. What you all think? Second stint, Rusev. He went on AEW. Exactly. He said, I don't need the woman with me. I can do it on my own. She coming. She got to come. Like, come on. He's nobody without Rusev. And the guy used to say, Rusev Day. Remember that? Yeah, so we'll see. Interesting stuff. Some other stories from the past week. Man, did y'all see that that ladder match for the tag team titles on SmackDown?
I didn't.
Absolutely phenomenal. I watched it twice, man. These guys, they was like, y'all not gonna put us on WrestleMania? Watch this. And it was commercial free. They went out there for 27 minutes and killed each other. That's what they did. Like, jumped off, went through tables, went through ladders.
Hit a man with a fake leg.
Yeah.
You gave him a prosthetic. What was your thoughts on the match, Justin?
You know, if there's a I told you so, not me personally, not coming from me, but just coming from the Street Profit side, like, yo, I'm telling y'all, we are main eventers, man. And sometimes you just gotta get it out the dirt. And they got it out the dirt. I guarantee you they will be featured in SummerSlam. That is guaranteed. It's just
running back.
It's good to see a great run like that. Montez is he's a superstar. I hope I say this. If Dawkins was a bit more, I guess, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, a bit stronger, a bit more chiseled.
Yeah, get him in shape, man. That's all I
That's the opposites that I will love. Dawkins be trying to do stuff that Ford does, and I'm like,
yeah,
no, it don't work. It
be the power guy. Yeah,
just be the power guy, dude. Some basic wrestling principles still work, you know. But it was just a hell of a match for all the participants involved. So just to have Montez taking it, although it took too long to get those damn belts off, but he did his thing, man. I loved it. I love the fact that he was on the side of the ladder and the other two was on the other side. I don't think I saw that too much before. So to do new things in a ladder match,
it was great. A lot of creative spots in there.
Yeah,
and also somebody made the point, well, more people will watch SmackDown on regular TV than people will watch WrestleMania on streaming. So this got more eyes on it, but still, the prestige of being on WrestleMania.
That's WrestleMania.
Is match. They'll forget about this match.
If you said it was backlash, I may agree, but it's WrestleMania.
On Mania. Yeah. So no, it don't make up for it, but it was a great match.
Could you imagine this match after Jey Uso winning? Crazy.
Or just night 2 once it got a little stale. Put that on in the middle of the card.
After Dog.
I was taking that New Day out. That New Day spot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, no doubt. Okay. Now, no disrespect to the New Day as far as what they mean to wrestling to the.
They need Big E. Big E should have came out.
Why did they drop that story? That story got them so much heat, man. We talked about this. They were never more over than when they turned on Big E and ran them down. They should have continued that. Anyway.
Unless he wasn't ready. Maybe that was it.
Well, clearly wasn't, but he could have been a mouthpiece still.
He could have just walked out there.
Yeah.
Do exactly what he does after Raw or whatever, and just do it in front of it in the ring.
They did it too early, I think.
I don't care what nobody say. The best promo I've seen in quite a while was Pat McAfee last night on Raw. This guy, he's effortless. Good. Effortless, man. He talked so much better than most of these guys who are trained wrestlers. Like do y'all watch this show called Legends LFG on A&E?
I watched the highlights.
I've heard. Yeah.
Bruh, y'all should check it out, man. I watch it every week. And look, they're not great, but it shows I love the process. I used to watch Tough Enough and those shows like that. But this is a little different. Those shows, they used to make them run obstacle courses and do stuff that had nothing to do with wrestling. NXT. Remember the old original NXT with Bryan Danielson and them, and they was doing stuff, strength and agility and all this. This is straight. These are the people we put in a match against each other. We're going to watch how y'all do, critique you, then talk about, it's very good. But then they go over promos. We want you to cut a promo. Show me you a baby face today. Give me a baby face promo. Here you a heel today. Anyway, those guys are like robots compared to what you saw from Pat McAfee, who's basically just an ex-punter who got a podcast. And this guy went out there and showed absolute flawless passion And yeah, he was allowed to cuss and do all that kind of stuff. So people like, well, the regular they ain't allowed to cuss like that. I don't care.
It's Netflix, baby.
It was phenomenal, man.
Ain't cable.
I clapped. I rewound that shit and clapped in the middle of it. Phenomenal, man.
I enjoyed the humbleness from Michael Cole. He really does not like to
he
get.
Felt that. He felt
yes,
that.
yes. Michael low-key sold that whole thing.
Yeah, it made you like, okay, I want to see him and Gunther. I want to see Gunther beat the hell out of this guy. But it'd be fun. You know what I mean? I don't mind it. I don't mind the match at all. I think it's going to be and I've seen
it's a nice
McAfee wrestled before. Him and Adam Cole, phenomenal match. Go back and watch it. Him and Steve Austin, not so great. Him and this man, not so great. But those guys were old and beat up. But if it's a guy who can go, McAfee can go. He got athleticism. He's a trained wrestler. He know what he's doing. I know you don't think this is a good match, Calvin, but I'm telling you, for a publicity stunt, he gonna get you eyeballs. That's what it's for. It's Pat McAfee. He gonna promote it all over ESPN. This was a phenomenal job building up a match in 2 weeks' time, and that's exactly what it do. That's how simple wrestling can be sometimes. You attack the guy who could defend himself. I come to your aid. You attack me. I want to fight you. That's wrestling.
So I said simple. Sometimes the simple principles of wrestling still work, man.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Calvin, you hate it. Go ahead.
I didn't say I hated it. I didn't say I wasn't looking forward to it. I'm just going to hold out until I see it. That's all I got.
McAfee,
he's not a wrestler
for a reason. He is a wrestler. He's a trained wrestler.
Okay.
He's a trained wrestler. He was voted Rookie of the Year in the Wrestling Observer Awards. I mean, you ain't getting that just off nothing. Remember, he ran. Maybe you wasn't watching NXT back then. He had a whole faction and everything. He was on there every week.
This is how far Gunther has fallen in
They gonna beat him. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Go ahead,
it's a nice 3 to 4 weeks to get Gunther away from the title, so he can go back to it. It might have a little after effect.
Continue on,
you know,
and this might bridge to the whole Goldberg match for Saudi Arabia. Remember, they started building it. Goldberg got hurt, and that was supposed to be at Mania, but I think Goldberg might be ready. Remember, he beat up Goldberg's son and all that. Dragged him out the crowd.
It's gonna be a retirement match that no one.
Yeah, I think he's going out, and Saudi Arabia pay for them type of names. So this might be a way to get Gunther into something else. But anyway,
that nobody wants to see.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
It's still attractions, Joe. It's still attractions.
Yeah, you're right. It's gonna pay the bills. Man,
the shows is paid for already. It's on Peacock. But Logan Paul and Jey Uso again. Just a match to give Jay a win. You're not beating up on nobody who's, on the way up. But a good win for Jay. Logan will sell for him. Logan will look all right athletically. Jay's not the best wrestler. Let's be real. So he needs guys who can athletically bump for him and do different things. And I think Logan's is solid. He's solid. It'll be a solid match. Nothing spectacular. I still think Jay needs to work on his in-ring awesome. He need to get in the gym. He get blown up a lot. I know the entrance is long and he does all the yeeting. So by the time the match starts, he's a little blown. You know what I mean? So I just think he need to work on his cardio and probably just tighten up a little bit with his conditioning.
Well, this is probably the fittest I've seen him in quite some time with this tank top on.
That beat.
That is true.
Yeah, but he was blown up in Mania. That's why he said some of the beginning of the match, Gunther had to slow it down because he just couldn't get his breath. So yeah, Jay just need to work on that. He really do. If you're gonna be the guy to carry this thing, and that's your interest you chose, you gotta be able to do it. You know what I mean? So that'll be interesting. Any final thoughts before we get out of here, fellas?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers selected Desmond Watson out of the University of Florida. Those that don't know, he is a defensive tackle that was weighing over 400 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
If he can get in any kind of shape, you have him and Vita Vea on the defensive line.
Stop.
This is for the anti tush push. That's what we're going against. So shout out to Desmond Watson. I can't wait to see you on a regular.
I did see y'all sign the heaviest and the lightest.
It was him.
Okay.
Oh, and the lightest is the wide receiver that we picked up in like the 7th round. kudos to him. He's Bucky Irvin's best friend. So he's the future running back, our running back. That's his best friend. So it might have been a little phone call for him.
Okay. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong.
Okay.
It's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Okay.
So we'll see. Again, Knicks didn't close out tonight. Denver's up 10 right now, heading into halftime. So it'll be interesting to watch how this thing go down. Go ahead, Calvin.
I will say the 3-1 comeback starts tomorrow night. Be prepared.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our show.
All right, yeah. Good luck. So yeah, hopefully. But yeah, Boston closed it out tonight. We'll see you next week right here. Here you go. Here you go. Yo, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Get off the damn fence. Holla.